Welcome, everybody, to Unicorn Adventures, where fun creative professionals take a break from business to play my role-playing game. Today, we've got two fantastic players. I'm going to have you, before we dive into the world of make-believe, introduce yourselves a little bit better. Mayan, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name. Tell us about you. What do you do in real life?
Yeah, so I do a lot of different things. Mainly, I do business stuff. So what that looks like is I have a couple different startups that either I founded or I'm an advisor on the kind of founder team, and then I also do consulting work and do speaking, and just generally anything that involves business is something that I find very fun. And then I'm do speaking and writing. I also am a glass blower and do art stuff. So it's a lot of things all over the board.
Yeah, fantastic. Claire, tell us about you. What do you do in real life?
Yes, I am an author and small publisher. So I write and publish novels, planners, journals, workbooks. I also am a DM for my own D&D game in my spare time, but my novels specifically are queer fantasy romance. So if you're into that, come on by.
No pun intended.
No pun intended, but I will take it.
But you will take it, yes.
Yeah.
Makes
fantastic
here.
So as we dive on into this kind of world, I always like to first start with our characters. So Claire, tell us a little bit about Amethyst.
Well, as most performers are wont to do, they did not get enough love in their childhood. And so she went out into the world and demanded love instead. And so she is a bard, she's a performer, and she mesmerizes people with the art of interpretive dance.
Yes, and given that you're a bard, I had to give you some sort of a musical instrument, and also she is not afraid to cut someone if need be.
Absolutely.
So there's absolutely a knife that may not be always visible, but ready for you.
Hidden knives are the best knives, aren't they?
Fantastic. And what do you feel in general drives Amethyst?
Well, she wants to feel seen. She wants to feel heard. She wants to feel appreciated. You know, she thinks that that's one of the most valuable things that you can offer someone at the end of the day. And she didn't get enough of that in her childhood. So it is her mission to A, get it for herself, and B, help other people get it too.
Fantastic. Mayan, I know it's been a while since you've written your character. Can you tell us a little bit about yours?
Yeah, and if it doesn't match what I wrote, then no one will know, right? Except for maybe you. So my character Maven is a mage of chaos and light. What motivates her is, I would say, twofold. One, just the thrill of, getting really close to the line and seeing how far you can get before everything falls apart. But then also sparking, epiphanies and awareness in people by using her magic that allows them to conceptualize and really kind of experience that everything is interconnected and that the chaos is actually part of the calm and the balance and the harmony of the universe.
Beautiful. And so to that degree, it sounds like from your explanation, the driving is really finding the calm and the chaos and finding the interplay of that and sort of some of the structures and building structures in the chaos, if you would.
Yeah. Figuring out how to harness the chaos into some form of structure or something useful.
Great. And I believe Maven has all sorts of fun things like cosmic magic, telepathy, all sorts of fun stuff, which you are absolutely going to get to use throughout all of this. Fantastic. Neither one of you should be surprised that the two purple people ended up banding together. And we're going to start our adventure. The cards have been shuffled. I can no longer shuffle these cards. Whatever happens, however they get pulled, they get pulled. No trickery here. So we will start with this. On this kind of search for bringing together chaos into something bit more of a structure, and for Amethyst, this search for self-expression and to be seen and understood. You hear that there is a city a bit further away that seemingly has figured out how to placate all of their citizens. That everybody is, maybe if not necessarily happy, content. That there's this some kind of structure that keeps everybody very much in order despite all the chaos of everyday life.
I've heard of that. It's called Soma, isn't it? I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
for our Brave New World fans out there.
I mean, I immediately went to Firefly and that one, planet where they all have that gas.
Well, in this case, both of you venture to the city. Nobody outside of the city actually knows the name of this city at this point. And you have differing. You have never necessarily met before, but on your ways to the road, it is very much away from other parts of society that have not accepted its, let's call it, dogma. That's not trying to be necessarily cheeky. You don't know of any specific religious aspect of it yet. But you find yourselves on the road. You share your stories, and you realize that you're both headed to the same space. You are now approaching this town. And from afar, you start walking on kind of the outskirts and sort of the suburbs. It's not a giant metropolis city, but it's not also a very, very, very small town. There's definitely an in-between kind of a feel. And as you approach and you're walking to it, you notice immediately that the two of you are seemingly very much sticking out. It is getting closer to the sun setting and a little bit darker. Still, there should be plenty of color. But as you're walking through, all that you're seeing around you are just grays. It seems that all the houses and everything are covered in just kind of this monochromatic grayscale. That there's a lack of color. What would you like to do? You can look around. You can go further into the city. You can test anything you'd like. What would you like to do?
Do I happen to have any sorts of art supplies on me? Paint, so on and so forth.
Given that you are a dancer and a musician, I don't think you would normally have paint with you, but surely you have maybe some ink for writing lyrics or writing music. But yeah, you might have some ink.
Okay. I might... Well, if it's just black ink, then I'm not gonna do anything with it. But I will probably want to head to where there seems to be more excitement going on, like maybe like a bar or tavern area. Like, where's the music? Where's the excitement? The nightlife?
All right. We're going to pull our first card of the game, and let's see what you notice. With a queen, which is very, very high and blurry on my camera, you notice that there's actually not a whole lot of music. There isn't necessarily a rustle and bustle of that kind of life. There is just a general maybe, this is a more densely populated area. There's those general sounds that you can hear. But there's not a whole lot of music. There's not a whole lot of like yelling or people trying to honk their horns or any kind of those things. You are very much noticing that there's more people as you head further into the city, and you can definitely feel that, but no music.
And
no
what time of day is it?
It is right about 5, 6. The sun is really starting to set already, and we're really getting into dusk.
Mm-hmm. Well, Maven, do you want to go party or do you want to look for something else?
So I actually, my natural tendency is to get very excited about everything that's different and new that I'm exploring. So I actually would be totally down to go create mischief in some of these houses because we don't know if anyone lives in there. But that sounds like a fun way to get into some trouble. So I would, be very interested to see just like what these houses are about and, get some idea on how different this place may or may not be from what, we're familiar with in our cities that we come from. And I think you can tell a lot by, what someone keeps on their bedstand or, what they've got in their refrigerator.
So let me understand. You want to break into one of these houses, is what I'm
I
hearing.
would love to. That sounds like a load of
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, I'm down for some beanie.
Are you trying to walk in and quite literally break through the front door? Are you trying to do it stealthily? Are you trying to find an open window? How are you trying to get into this house? Because it's going to depend on a lot of things. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I think the first attempt would be to knock on the door and just use my charm to get into the house. But if no one answered, I would probably kind of sneak around the side and the back and see if there's an open window. I probably would refrain from actually breaking anything.
Sure. So you've got these 3 houses that are right there in front of you. Which one do you feel like you'd want to go for? Left, center, or the one on the right?
What are your thoughts? Do you have in
Well, are those people on the front porch? Like, are those people actually sitting there?
There are no people. There's a dog in the center one. But there's
for sure. Let's go pet the dog at least for like 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm down for that.
Okay, so it's very interesting. You go over and you pet the dog, and the dog doesn't even seem to. There's not a growl of aggression, but there's not also a wagging of the tail. It seems to just kind of comply. Like you pet it, and it's really strange. It's almost like petting a taxidermied animal. Like it's weird. It's alive.
Just how
it's very
I like
much
my
alive.
men. I'm just kidding. Demure and drugged. I'm just kidding.
Well, yeah, but it's very strange to you. As you look into its eyes, it doesn't seem like it's under the influence of any kind of necessary sedative, but it just seems content isn't the right word. Perhaps complacent is a little bit better. There's this strange emotion, especially to see in an animal. That's what you get from petting the dog. But now it's your choice. You can break into that house, any of the other houses. What would you like to do?
I would say one of the other 2 houses, just because I think it's more likely someone's home if they're leaving their dog out on the porch. Although I don't know what the social customs and norms are in this city. But one of the other 2.
Okay. Do you want to go for the one with the tree? It seems to be darker. It seems to be there's not as much light on it. It seems to be it looks a little more possibly abandoned.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Or like no one's home. Okay. You walk up, you try the doorknob. It's locked. But you have this feeling of where you're like, if I give this a nice jolt of cosmic magic, I could blow this thing wide open off its hinges. Like it's a little bit rickety.
We're going for it because I like a dramatic entrance.
Okay. All right. Next pull. A jack. Absolutely. You get that with a jack. Can you describe that to us? What does that look like? How you got enough oomph to blow this thing off? What does it look like?
Ooh. Yeah, I think it looks like definitely there's some hand action going on, like a little bit of a Dragon Ball Z energy happening. I think I'd probably be in like a wide stance for stability purposes, right? And I think it'd be a lot of buildup, but then you wouldn't even really notice the applied action. The door would boom swing open because I'm trying to use a very, very tiny amount of chaos. So it's a lot of just me having fun with it more than I'm actually building up like a massive amount of energy, and then just like a little.
Wow.
As she's doing this, can I check to see if anyone sees us or is watching us?
Sure. Wow, you guys are getting amazing cards. It's another jack.
We're using them all up now.
I know, right? That's the difference between using a dice. You kind of use the good cards and then they're gone. Nobody seemingly is watching you. Even the dog doesn't seemingly to have an interest whatsoever. There doesn't seem to be anybody going on the street. This is closer to the outskirts of town, as you've noted previously. So no, doesn't seem to anything like it. So you're watching this kind of orb of all this color, everything. You're Amethyst. You're kind of preparing yourself like, ooh, it's gonna blow, and then all of a sudden it's a little boop, and like it's not a big thing. You appreciate the artistry.
I do a little shimmy.
Yeah. And the door kind of swings open, and it's one of those things of where the hinges seem to be really good at the first part, and then as it opens further and further, you hear like and they really halt the door. It doesn't even slam necessarily. The door opens into a relatively dark space. You're not seeing, there's not a source of light that you can see from here except for what's coming in from the outside with the setting sun. Yeah, it seems gray, maybe a little bit dusty. Are you going in?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. You walk in, and in front of you, kind of walk right into this sort of hallway. There's an immediate right that seems to go into possibly the kitchen, dining room area, or the hallway continues forward where there might be a bigger living room or something else kind of to the further edge of the back of the house. What would you like to do?
And everything's covered in dust, yeah. Everything's covered in dust, yeah.
It's not like bad covered in dust, but it's a little dusty.
Okay. Go ahead.
It seems like while it's not, the way that it feels is there may be somebody here every now and again, but they're definitely not taking care of the house.
I'm just fascinated with people's kitchens. And what you might find in them, right? Like maybe there's like a really old egg in a pickle jar. I don't know. Maybe there's other very strange things. So I would like to go in the kitchen and open all of the cabinets.
Okay. You go in, you start opening all the cabinets, and you see that they are actually completely empty. There's kind of a box of crackers that's half fallen to the side. You presume that it might be crackers. It's kind of a little bit faded. Nothing inside. There's nothing remaining inside. There's maybe a little bit of dishes and things like that. It seems that maybe somebody has rummaged through this, is what you're feeling, but there's nothing that's completely out of the ordinary. The only thing that you notice as you're going through all this is, again and again, some of this kind of magic, the wisps are lighting everything. Everything you did is so colorful. The magic you use is so colorful. All these dishes, these crackers, all of this stuff, gray. It's very strange to you. You're like, I know some people like their white dishware and sets. This is weird. This is, it's almost like it's taking in some of that light for itself, almost like it's sucking it in, where it's just gray. Do you want to open the fridge as well?
Is that something I feel physically? Like, am I feeling myself being drained in a sense, or?
Let's pull a card. Oh my goodness. You are wasting all the good ones with an ace. Waste is a strong word. Waste is a strong word. You don't feel that you're being pulled necessarily by it, but you can very much tell that because you are in control of your own being, in control of your autonomous, very much so, you are not being pulled. But anything that doesn't have that autonomy, like Aaron's bits of light, like the sunshine from the outside, those kinds of things are seemingly being pulled in.
So Amethyst, it kind of sounds like there's some type of natural force that is afflicting this city. What are your thoughts in terms of, now we've explored a little, we're noticing these things. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I want to go up to a wall and try to like rub the gray away. Like, is it possible to like get underneath the gray, or is it like, are there like layers?
So are you just trying to just rub it?
Yeah, just like rub it really hard. Or, like,
rub it, but like if that's not working, I'm like punching a hole through the wall.
Yeah, like picking at it with my nail, just like trying to like get underneath the gray, if that's possible. I don't know if it is though.
Okay. So Amethyst, you walk over, you're rubbing it, you're trying to rub off of the wall. It doesn't seem to be coming off. You're trying to get your nail under. It's more of a kind of a wooden wall. You're splintering it off, and like the splinters, they look gray. Like it's almost like it's seeped into this. Like, it's it's not the dust, but it almost feels like this gray dust has permeated into this so much just over the years. And as you're doing this, with an 8. All of a sudden, without any warning, just right next to your hand, just a fist punches right through as Maven just punches the wall. And this house is kind of disheveled and rickety. You punch right through the wall. And as soon as you do that, you hear a noise and commotion and a tiny little yelp coming from upstairs.
Is there anything in the wall?
You remove your fist, you look in, it looks empty. There might be maybe a portion of a crawl space, or maybe just the in-between.
Still gray inside.
Everything is still gray. Yeah, there seems to just not be any other color. Some of it is black because it's just darkness.
Should we stay around for the person upstairs? What do you think, Maven?
I don't know. I guess could we tell what age the scream, what age person the scream came from? Is it like a younger person? Did they sound a bit older?
To help you, would you like to use some of your magic to do that since you have telepathy?
Oh, yes. That would be a smart thing to do.
So what we'll do in this case, the reason I want to help you, I mean, I don't know what the next card is. We're going to pick 2 cards and we'll pick whichever one's higher because you're sort of using magic in order to help you out with that. Oh, how lovely. The first card was a 5 and the second card is a king.
Oh, great.
So we're going to use the king. You immediately feel that there is a presence. You actually feel the presence of 2 beings. You can't immediately tell humanoid, not humanoid, but you know that one of them is young overall, and that was the one that definitely did the yelp. You cannot tell the other one. It's very interesting. Even with such a high pull, you're still going, I don't even know what this creature thing is.
Can I sense telepathically innocence, or like can I sense the intent of either of the creatures, entities?
You can sense that the one that is young was just frightened, truly just frightened, and the other one, you can tell that it's protective. The frightened essence is not of the protector. The protector is just trying to protect the frightened mind. That's the relationship that you're getting.
So I think I would try and say, hey, Amethyst, I think we could go help some creatures in this world we've discovered. And I'd ask permission first. I'd say, are you down?
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, well, let's go. Let's go help some mystery.
I do one of those like shimmy walks down the hallway.
Yeah. We could just start doing like snapping, like old school.
Yeah. Do some like pirouettes, you know.
Just making all the noise so it's not scary.
Yeah, we're the friendly dancers coming your way.
You make your way up the stairs. The stairs very much creak as you go up them. You barely hear the creaks as you hear all the jingling off of Amethyst as she's dancing and doing everything. And what you come up to is the seemingly empty room with no furniture or anything, much of anything in it. And sitting on the ground, looking at you a little bit frightened, is a small tiefling girl.
She's so cute.
I know. I want to hug her.
She is wearing spectacles, and she looks at you, and immediately, as soon as she sees you, she's beginning to the little breath of, and she sees you, and her breath catches almost slightly like an awe or surprise, as if the bad thing she was afraid of didn't happen. And because you had the king, I'm giving you this opportunity because you had the king. You realize that there is another entity that might pounce on you at this very moment. You have the ability to react. Is there anything you'd like to do in the reaction?
Is that for Maven or for both of us?
That is for, it could be for both of you, because Maven could kind of go, hey, like kind of gesture.
Yeah, I think you've got your what was the name of that beautiful instrument you were carrying?
A lute and
a ukulele, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Would you play some music I find music often diffuses.
Yeah. I will definitely strum a tune, and I'm just pirouetting into the room, and I want to pirouette into position behind the tiefling child, and kind of use her almost as a shield, but not I'm going to sacrifice her, but I'm on her side as what I'm trying to communicate with my body.
You're trying to communicate I'm safe, but if you attack me, you'll hurt this child as well. Okay. Sure. It's going to be just a straight pull, just because that is a bit confusing, and that's a lot of movement as a reaction in that moment. That's why I love this game. With a 2, which happens to be the lowest card, you strum with the first step in, and you completely trip as you fall forward, and you basically face plant in front of
I
this
continue
girl.
strumming while I'm face planting.
Which, by the way, makes her laugh.
Mm.
However, Maven, you feel this other entity leap, and with the telepathic, you realize that it's kind of darker in here, and you realize it is leaping directly on top of Amethyst. And as you kind of turn and try to look and try to see what in the world is happening, on top of Amethyst lands a small, furry creature that is also gray. It starts to tries to like bite you or do something, but it seemingly just kind of bites a bit of the cloth around you, and it's just going and it's just seemingly trying to protect the poor girl, who almost starts giggling a little bit, kind of that uncomfortable, weird giggling of what in the world's happening. I can't control this. Why is this happening? Maven, what would you like to do as you're noticing this absolute craziness?
So I can't help myself, and I just scoop up the little cute creature, and I go, "Oh, you're so cute, trying to be scary and evil. Yes, you are," like how I do with my French bulldog. Oh, you're so cute. You're helpless, but look, you're trying to be tough and mean. And while I'm patronizing it, because it doesn't know that, I'm also staring it in the eyes and just putting some like love rays straight into its soul. And that's coming out as kind of like rainbow. I'm building like a little rainbow light connection between my eyes and this cute little creature's eyes.
All right, here's how we're going to do this. Because you're also trying, and you already had the telepathic kind of connection initially, we're kind of going to do a little bit of a check, because it, at this point, doesn't know that it should be able to trust you as you're picking it up. So we're going to pull 2 cards to see if you're going to be able to pick it up and comment. And then it's going to be against one of its cards to see if it's going to resist you as you're doing it. So we'll see what it is for you. So for you, we've got a 6 and a 9. So we'll take the 9. And it pulled also a 9. Which in this case, what I'll say is that you're trying to kind of wrestle it and give it the love rays of hey, calm down. The rainbows are kind of flying. And you hear a gasp from the little girl, because the rainbows are colored, and everything else is gray. And there's this immediate gasp further. And this little critter, while he wrestles out of your hands, lands in front of you, but now stares at you with the kind of half-cocked to the side ahead of almost like curiosity. It seems to now trust you and not immediately want to attack anybody else. Amethyst, how you doing over there on the ground? You wanna get up? What are you doing?
I mean, I kind of just go with the roll and kind of like turn it into a movement of sorts. Maybe like I crouch next to the little girl and like continue strumming and like just basically greet her and be like, "Hello, little one."
So the fact that you are a tiefling immediately puts her at seeming ease. You haven't seen a whole lot of creatures here, so you don't actually know what kind of animals and creatures and humanoid kind of folk are here. But she seemingly looks at you and kind of shyly goes, "Hi."
What's your name?
Nella.
Well, is this your house?
No, why do you have color?
Because I'm fabulous. Why don't you have color?
Because I'm not fabulous, I guess.
Well, we can make it that way, baby.
Who is she? She's obviously looking at Maven, because not a tiefling.
She's my friend. She's nice too. Do you want to be friends together?
Maybe. I think Tuft likes her.
Is that the name of this little creature?
You see the little creature give out a little like a mix between a little growl and a little yelp of like a. You still have no idea. You've never seen this kind of a creature. You don't know what species it even is. But yes, that seems to be an affirmative.
Well, we're here to spice up your life, baby.
My life. I don't know about my life. It's not. I've kind of just been living here, just running away from everybody else.
Are people chasing you?
Well, I don't really want to be. I don't want the establishment to find me.
Are they bad?
They make things gray.
Well, we're here to stop that.
I'd be like, yeah, they do. I agree. Same in my town. I feel your pain, little one.
What are you gonna do?
I don't know yet. Do you have any ideas?
Well, maybe we can go home. Maybe you can talk to Mr. Blackburn.
Okay, who's Mr. Blackburn?
He's the man with the mustache. He's the one.
Mustache.
He's the one. He's scary. He's the one who talks on behalf of the establishment.
Okay, where could we find Mr. Blackburn?
The building. The big building.
The big building. Okay. How far away is the big building?
Just it's in the middle of town.
In the middle of town. All right.
It's scary. It's big.
That's okay. I'm scary too.
I'm not. I'm not big. I'm small and I'm not scary.
That's okay.
What do you do during the day? Do you just sit here?
I stay here and then I just go out at night to see if I can find food or something for Tuft. There's not much to eat in here and I don't really know what else to do.
Did you have parents at one point, or what happened to your family?
They told me I had parents, but I don't really remember anything anymore. The people that said were my parents don't look like me.
Don't look like you in terms of your facial features are a little different, or they're a totally different type of
No, they don't have horns.
Interesting. What a mystery. Well,
Wow.
Anna, what do you think our next steps should be? Should we go
I think
find?
we should go find Mr. Blackburn, but we will come back for you. Nala, was it Nala?
Nella, but yeah.
Nella, yeah. We will come back for you and we will bring some color into your world if you want us to.
Do you have something colorful to leave with me now?
Absolutely. I take off my little jingle jangle thingy and I wrap it around her and tie it in a knot.
So you wrap it around, and what's interesting is as you wrap it and you put it on her, you see that it maintains its color on the edges, but almost as soon as it touches her, the very, very pieces that are most in contact with her slowly are starting to turn gray.
All right. Well, for now you can jingle jangle, and then once we get back, it'll be colorful jingle jangling.
She looks at you and she goes, okay, and she does a little jingle jangle, and you immediately see this kind of like smile come up. And as she stands up, something you from the way that she was sitting, you couldn't notice this, but now as she stands up, you notice this girl only has her left arm, and as she holds with just one arm this shawl kind of that you put on her and jangles, you see this joy, this just childlike joy, and that laugh that just pure joy brings. And immediately you see not only the shawl come a little bit more in color, but a little bit of her actual seeming rags. For a second, you could have sworn they weren't gray. And then it kind of comes back down.
I strum a little tune. I dance with her as we're jangling around.
Yeah, she enjoys it. It's still kind of there, but it doesn't seem to gain any further color. You just notice, just for a brief moment, that there might have been something. You make your way now out of the house. Nella has kind of pointed you in the right direction. Maven, Tuft, you may have pushed the magic a little far, seems to be borderline enamored with you, and seeming wanting to follow you. Would you like for Tuft to come along? Nella's basically saying that is going to be perfectly fine. She doesn't have to. That he'll come back eventually.
I guess is Tuft. What's the word I'm looking for? Trained or like a
domesticated.
Obedient sounds like such a harsh word, but like is Tuft going to listen to me if I communicate with Tuft?
He is, partially because he now adores you, and partially because you understand that he actually has, while you cannot communicate in the same language as him, because of the telepathy, his intellect is actually rather high.
Then yes, he sounds like a wonderful partner to take on this adventure.
All right, fantastic. So you make your way further and further down, and you're walking down more sort of these streets closer to the center of town. It is still graying, and what was interesting is as the sun set, you were expecting sort of a complete darkness, but in reality it became kind of like the white nights of the north, where it just feels like overcast. It's just as if it's just constantly this weird overcast that further paints everything into very much this gray colors. And you're walking, and as you walk, there are some people that in general you're seeing here or there. They all just seem to be heading home kind of from work. Gray, everybody gray, a lot of expressions, not a whole lot of life in the eyes. Perhaps sturdy looking people that have been through a lot, but at the same time, life doesn't seem to be kind of there, nothing to be ignited. Nobody is seemingly looking at you. You're not noticing that anybody's like, oh wow, they have a whole bunch of color, not in the way that Nella did, kind of in surprise, but also you just see that people aren't looking around at all. It's almost like they're staring straight ahead of wherever they're walking. There's not a lot of murmuring and discussion. It seems to be rather quiet, even though there are all these people. What would you like to do? Do you want to continue further in? Do you want to look around for more people, or just listen in general to wherever else you hear?
Well, we're looking for the biggest building, yeah. So.
And you're seeing that you can keep following this road. It seems that as you've been going down the road, it's been a little bit more clustered of buildings, more and more people. It seems that this may be the main road that's leading into the center of town.
Is there one building that looks more domineering than the others?
You can't, just because of the way that the road turns from this point, you can't tell. There's not as if there's one that's much, much higher, like a skyscraper in the center of town that's just towering over absolutely everything else.
Okay. And there's still no like bars or taverns or anything like
No
that.
bars or taverns, but you hear something very interesting that appeals to you ever so slightly. That you know is a frequent sound at bars and taverns, and you hear the ding of a coin being flipped. You just hear that, which strangely almost pierces this kind of monotony of sounds, and it seems to be right around the corner that you're hearing this sound.
Want to head in that direction?
Yeah, let's find the sound.
All right. You walk to the corner, and what you see is a little boy. And a little boy, human boy, adorable as all can be, with a cap that almost is seemingly just ever so slightly too big for him. Just the cutest thing if you never read Oliver Twist. And he seems to be kind of just flinging this big old coin, just tossing it up and down and tossing it up and down. He looks at you, Maven, and he gives you a little wink and flips the coin. The coin flies up in the air, and you see it land in his outstretched hand, and then you look back up at his face and back down at his hand. Coin's gone.
Ooh. I think I would say, hey, I can do magic tricks too. Where did you learn your magic trick?
Oh, it's no trick. This is just actual magic.
Ooh, and where did you get your magic from?
I have my secrets, and I'm not telling you.
What if I tell you one of my secrets? Then will you tell me one of yours?
How about you just give me some gold?
Oh, I do not. Amethyst, do you happen to have any gold on you?
I would assume so. I don't know.
I will say that, yes, Amethyst, you know that you have probably about 3 or 4 gold pieces, about 10 silver, and 20 bronze.
Okay. He specifically asked for gold. So I'll toss him.
Are you wanting to? Because we don't have to spend the gold here.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm fine with giving this kid gold. I am liberal.
But we make it. We have a caveat. He has to tell us first.
Okay.
And
I'll do the little, like, you know,
then we get
rolling it through my fingers kind of thing and like hold it up.
Because you're doing that, I'm gonna do a little performance check with you. If you're actually able to twirl through your fingers, you absolutely are with a king. Yes. He actually goes like, whoa. It seems like he might be even a little bit jealous of whatever it is that you're doing, because you realize actually by doing that performance that what he did was not a sleight of hand. There was no thing of where the coin truly vanished, strangely enough. And as he looks at that, he says, "Oh, can you teach me that? And I'll tell you exactly what my coin did."
Absolutely.
All right. Do you teach him?
Yeah.
How do you want to teach him?
Yeah. I'll use a bronze instead of a gold because it's more, less valuable. And I'll just, take his little hands and I'll show him how it goes. And then,
All right. As it's happening, he's like, okay. He's learning. He kind of tries and fumbles a little bit. He's having a harder time. He kind of gets it over a couple knuckles. He's, oh, okay. So he starts to figure it out. And then he turns to you and goes, I don't normally do this, but if you give me 3 coins, depending on the coin, I can turn them magical for you. And then they're really fun when you flip them. They can answer questions.
Okay. I mean, I'll give 3 silver for that.
Okay. So you give him the 3 silver?
Mm-hmm.
You see him take the 3 silver, and he puts them into this little pouch, jiggles the pouch, and pulls out 3 coins, which it was strange because it felt like the pouch didn't have any more than 3 coins that he just put in there. They're no longer silver coins. You now have these black and white coins. One side is black and the other side is white. And he gives them to you and goes, just when you flip it, just think of a question, and then when it falls down, the white will be yes and the black will be no.
Excellent. You're so helpful. What's your name?
I'm Alan.
Alan? Do you know Nella?
Who?
Just a little girl we met on the outskirts of town. I don't know if you kids know each other or not, but we're making friends with all the children, apparently.
I know.
That's fine.
Okay.
You're still part of our club. Do you want to be part of your club?
I don't know. It's hard to trust people now, but at least when I flipped the coin, I knew that you were going to buy some of mine. You're now realizing what possibly the vanishing of the coin that he flipped meant.
That's okay. I'm not attached to my money.
Well, I need to go because it's time for dinner.
What are you having for dinner?
I don't know. I'm not the one who cooks it, and that's not something I can ask the coins. Well, at least not the silver ones.
Maven, did you want to ask about his magic?
Yeah, like when did you first learn how to?
Oh, I don't really know how. I just I have this little bag, and when I put things in it, it just transforms it into something different. So far I know that it works best on coins. and the better the coin, the better the thing it gives.
What other things have you tried?
Tried a cricket. It's just messy. I tried a rock, still a rock. It's good to throw at Doug's head. I don't like Doug. Yeah, I tried all sorts of stuff. Did I try soup? I shouldn't tell you this. Actually, we're gonna pull a persuasion card to see if he'll tell you. With a 10, absolutely. I got it from the big building. I got it from the establishment. They have a room with all sorts of stuff that you're not supposed to be in. So I don't go back there anymore.
Thank you so much for telling us that. That's very, very useful and helpful.
You're welcome. And he gives you kind of that little boy smile where his ears also kind of go whoop a little bit up. And then he just kind of scurries away to dinner. You realize, Amethyst, he never returned the bronze piece that he was practicing with.
That's fine. That's why I made it bronze instead of gold.
All right. As this happens, you now kind of stand up and look further down, and you see what you probably think is the big building. It is not incredibly tall, but it is definitely massive. It is further down the street from where you're seeing it, but it very much towers over the local to it houses. But yeah, from afar, you would have not been able to see it. It's a little bit flatter. What would you like to do?
Well, first, I just want to admire the architecture because this is a really nice building and I can appreciate the craftsmanship.
I mean, if there was an establishment, it would be in that building for sure.
Well, how do you want to approach this, Amethyst? Like,
I say we do some rounds, check out how many doors there are, if there's people going in and out, just scoping the place first.
I think that's probably the smart thing to do.
All right.
Do you want to just bust on in?
My ideas are not always the safe ones to pursue, so I can always.
I mean, we don't always have to go the safe route. I'm also down for some pyrotechnics.
What will it be?
Oh, we'll scope it out first, because as the little boy Alan just told us, they got loads of magic up in there.
True.
Fair. All right. Since both of you are doing it, we're going to once again pull 2 cards and take the highest and see how this goes for you. You got a Jack and a 3. So fantastic. With a Jack, at this point, it feels abandoned. It's almost like if you've ever been in DC or in one of those big cities and you go to kind of the financial quarter or the government after hours, that space, it feels dead. It feels like there's nobody there. Maybe some random lights are kind of on, but it just... it looks like probably everything is locked, but if it was open, you wouldn't be surprised because it looks like people work there, but currently it's completely abandoned. There's not a janitor in sight or anything that you can tell from just scoping the outside of the building. You find that there is a general main entrance and a series of kind of side entrances on kind of the other parts of it. But it seems that the majority of people use the main entrance to go in and the sides to usually exit and not get in.
Are there any guards?
You see nobody on the outside.
So what are your thoughts on either slipping in one of the side doors as someone's coming out versus going in the main door?
I'm down with side doors. That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got 2 side doors. Would you like to do the left one or the right one?
You pick.
Well, use your telepathy and see, are there people,
Can I sense people at either of the doors?
Sure. Let's see what you do. With a 2, you sense that it is completely empty on both sides.
Great.
Nothing. Nobody.
Perfect. Is one busier than the other?
I mean, there's nobody there, so no.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
kind of you as you approach. There seems to be no people coming in or out. Maybe any people that were in probably already left a long time ago. No.
All right. I'm going to use one of my black and white coins
Mm-hmm.
and ask, will the left side be less busy?
Okay.
Versus,
flip-
will it be safe?
I'm not concerned about safety. I'm talking about, like, are we going to run into a bunch of people?
You flip the coin flies in the air, and it's really interesting because as it flies in the air, you go, wow, whoever has the time to think of a full question while a coin is being flipped, and you see that it almost slows at the top of the arc, almost unnaturally, giving you a little bit extra time, and then it flops onto your hand, white side up.
What was the question again? Is it less busy? I think that's what I said, right? Left side.
I believe you said is the left side going to be less busy?
Okay. So that sounds good to me. What about you?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay. Left side.
Okay. You walk up to it. You try the door. It's locked. Maven even comes up because she's like, I've got experience. Let me try. And it's locked. It's not locked like the other door. Like it's dead bolted. Like it's gonna take a little bit more, either more finesse or a little more oomph, or a lot more oomph to get this going. What would you like to do?
I think I want to finesse and use some of that chaos magic to, work the inner workings of whatever mechanisms are locking the door, undo those mechanisms and get into the building that way.
And just pick the lock.
Yep, pick the lock, exactly.
Okay. Joker. I love the Joker. So here on Unicorn Adventures, there are two types of cards that are fun. There's the Jokers and there's the Unicorn card. The Unicorn card means that you get to pick whatever happens and you get to make a wish. The Joker card means I get to pick whatever happens. It could be good, it could be bad. We shall see as it goes. Are you doing the same thing of kind of playing around with the magic before you shoot it in? How are you doing it?
This is a little different because it's very focused kind of work. So this is more like I'm playing the piano, but like not down like this, but kind of up like this. And each finger is kind of, as it's working together with all the other fingers, is what's kind of unlocking the mechanism.
Yeah. And so you're doing this and kind of like the fingertips lighting up, and it's almost like it's hitting these strands of magic throughout the air.
As your fingers are moving, I'm mirroring that on my lute.
And that's helping me get in the zone. I'm like, play that.
I'm just like, I'm giving you inspiration. I am a bard.
It's amazing that this combination is creating just a sick riff. Like it is amazing music. You're like, I need to remember to write this down. Like, this is good. As you're doing this, you hear actually several kind of almost deadbolts go unlock, and the door just gently opens out towards you, not inwards, but it opens out towards you. In front of you is a weird dark hallway. Like it's very unlike what you would expect in this kind of a grand building of this kind of a hallway. But again, if this is just almost like a little emergency exit, maybe this is fine. It is a little bit dark. What would you like to do? There's actually some light in it, kind of a little bit further down. There's the darkness immediately where you are, where the door is, and there's some light further down the hallway, and the hallway turns to the right. There's no other options. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm down to explore, and I kind of, ignite a little lantern for us in my hand, and I go, "Hey, with this, you want to go check out the dark, creepy hallway?"
Yeah. I'll hold up the rear.
You walk in, and as soon as you walk in, you feel almost this kind of pull and wind sweep in behind you, and the door slams behind you. As it does, it's a relatively heavy door, and it's kind of that thing where the sound waves like, whoa, they kind of reverberate, and you swear that you hear a little like the little flickering that you can sometimes hear of a light bulb. far away, and maybe even your light in your hand flickered. And immediately as it comes back up, the hallway looks different. There's now a door in the hallway on the side, and there are 3 figures that are looking directly at you. They seem to have no faces. They are staring at you, and from their body language, you can tell that they are about to start running at you. That their body language is not showing you that they are pleased that you have entered. What would you like to do?
Can I hypnotize them with interpretive dance?
You can certainly try.
I do a little shimmy. I do a little shake. I do a little like.
Okay. I will say that if you get a 9 or above, there will be a positive effect. Anything below that will have no effect.
Great.
That is a 7. Unfortunately, no effect. And they start moving towards you. And it's interesting. They're moving in a very strict sort of manner. Very linear, very predictable to a degree. But not necessarily slow. Amethyst, you kind of got to choose your own thing. Maven, is there anything else you want to do before they close the distance and get up to you? You can also close the distance and do something to them. It's up to you. What would you like to do?
I think, the first thing I do is really check in telepathically with Amethyst to see if she's in a fight or flight kind of response mechanism, and what do I discover when I do that?
I'm always ready to cut a bitch.
Okay, perfect. So I basically tell it, I go, I got the 2 on the right, you got the 1 on the left, and we kind of close the distance in a, I would say, a strong, aggressive manner, but also restrained. So not full on attack mode, but like, hey, we're not scared of you, and we're ready to do something about it. If so, like not making the first move, but kind of getting up close in their face and being like, what's going on?
What?
Yeah, what?
Oh, I would be so confused. As one starts to dance and do an appropriate thing, the other person stands up almost like a bouncer, walks up and what? Well, we can't dance here.
Confusion is the best way to diffuse situations.
Absolutely.
I tried the persuasive route. It didn't work, so
we're now going to do the intimidation route. All right. We're going to pull a card for your intimidation. Well, amazing. So with a king, you as you step up to them and go, what? You see they immediately kind of halt. There's almost this, you get an immediate feeling that these, whatever entities they are, receive directions from a higher authority. And it's almost as if they, for a second, are going, is this somebody with a higher authority? Are we maybe wrong? There may be a problem here. Again, from the body language, because they have no faces, you can tell that they're not fully convinced, but they've kind of stopped moving. I'll let you to also, is there anything else that you want to do next?
Did you say that there was a door between us and them?
It's not really even between you. It's kind of, there's a little bit kind of the space to the right of them. It's just next to them.
Okay.
Almost as if maybe they appeared from it, but you couldn't have seen it before the light flicker.
Gotcha. Well, I will let Maven take the lead since she's apparently.
I think I'm gonna try some just confident bluffing here. If they've already kind of given a little, hey guys, get back to work, and then hopefully they respond and we can follow them.
Okay. Given the fact that you had that king on the intimidation, I'm gonna we'll pull 2 cards and we'll see which one. We'll take the top one. Oh, okay. So you got a 5 and a 7. They kind of, again, they like with a 7, it was kind of like, okay. And then they go, wait a minute, something is not right. And you see that they immediately, they raise their hands in this really weird, like straight arm fashion about the level of your necks. and they lunge at both of you. The two on the sides immediately at both of you. We're going to see if they're able to grab you. They're attempting to lunge at you and grab both of you by the throat. All right. With a 6 and a 5, both of them do it, but you have plenty of time. Amethyst, you kind of make it as part of your dance. You just kind of, no, thank you.
Swoop down, yeah.
Plenty of time of saying no to suitors at bars that have been too drunk and tried to grab you or anything. You're like, absolutely not. Maven, you're just like, are you kidding me? Like, very much also this kind of power pose of just like, no. And this almost little burst of kind of light energy just kind of deflects. They both hit the sides of the walls, and the one in the middle is actually going to run for the door. He's going to run and try to open the door and starts banging on it. It seems that he cannot actually open
or the
door.
one we came through from now?
The side door that just now appeared. He seems to be banging on it. What would you like to do next?
I would like to trip him.
Okay.
And try to get him away from the door.
All right. With a 4, you try to trip him, but unfortunately, he's kind of already been slipping and hitting the wall, so you don't succeed in tripping him, but he still falls to the ground just because he messed up on his kind of reach and you dodged him so well. Maven, what would you like to do? Or sorry, Amethyst, were you trying to trip the guy that was going for the door, or that went for you?
For the door.
For the door. You're not able to trip him, but the guy who went for you does fall. Though that's more of his clumsiness than anything that you did necessarily.
I meant to do that.
Yeah. Maven, what would you like to do?
I think I want to try using some of my chaos magic to kind of create a barrier between the third one who's banging on the door and the door itself. Also in the hopes that, it's kind of like, again, a very colorful kind of like wall of magic that now he's banging. I want to see what happens when he starts hitting this magic, and if his, fist changes colors, or if there's anything unusual that happens.
Yeah. Honestly, with a 6, you didn't need high. I just wanted it to not be super low because you're casting this on a door. It's an inanimate object that you're putting just a little shield on. You put up this shield, and we'll see what's going to happen next. The guy that is banging on the door, he starts banging on it more and more, and you almost see like these little fragments of light, like little sparkles, are kind of flying off as he's trying to do it. And you see him raise a fist as he tries to basically punch through this barrier with everything he's got. We'll see what he's got. Really? We didn't even get to resolve the other one. Another Joker. So as he raises his hand and he punches into this, you see that his fist seemingly goes entirely through the barrier, but it's almost like it vanishes into the barrier. And he did not predict for this, and he falls into the entire colorful barrier and seemingly vanishes in it. The door, you can see because it's semi-transparent of the barrier. The door is still closed on the other side. He just falls into that part of it. You look around at the two other guys that are now standing up. They stand up and they're getting ready to lunge at both of you. And all of a sudden, you hear from behind them, "Ah, sola mia." You look at Tiny Tuft as he is seemingly sitting, because he has followed you this entire time, on the ground with his mouth wide open, not making the lip noises, but almost like repeating some sort of a message that has been there. And he is singing some sort of an Italian opera. As he's doing this, both of them immediately clasp their ears and start withering down further and further. And as Tuft sings and keeps singing more and more, you're quite impressed with the vibrato that he's using. They kind of wither into gray wisps of smoke that then just completely disappear.
The real MVP.
And then he kind of just closes his mouth and just stares at you, just nothing.
And then we do a classic high five where our legs kind of come up at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, and I give Tuft a little scritch behind the ear.
Fantastic. As you do that, you high five, you do that, you land. I'm not even going to make you pull a card for that just in case you trip and fall. All of a sudden, you hear a knock, knock, knock on the other side of the door. And stepping, and this is the weird part, the door opens through the barrier. And stepping not from the other side of the door, because you can now kind of see into that room, but stepping out of the barrier is the same general shape and look of the figure that fell into it. However, now, very much having a face, and very much looking a little bit lost. You see a man step out, and he's looking at you, and he's a little bit unsure, slightly frightened. As he steps out, the barrier vanishes behind him. What would you like to do?
I'd like to talk, ask him some questions, but in a very friendly manner, and let him know that, hey, we're here to help. By the way, who are you?
I'm Damien. I'm Damien Green. Why are you here?
Do you know why you're here?
I'm not really sure where here is. I thought I was a scientist. I thought I was at work. God, I feel older than I have been. What day is it? I just feel like I've been working for years.
What day is it?
You have no idea. Not for them, not for here. Like you generally know the date, but you don't think that it would mean anything to this specific town that seems to be on a completely different schedule of all things.
I think I would first whisper to Amethyst before divulging any information about ourselves to this mystery man. What was his name?
Damien.
To Damien. But with your approval, I would then tell Damien, we're not from around here, so we're just visiting. So you probably know just as much, if not more, than we do.
I'm quite not sure where we are. Are we at the establishment? Oh no, I don't ever remember working here. I just know that it's been years that everything's been turning gray, and ever since the establishment, more and more scientists, many of my colleagues have come to work here. But surely I don't work here. I wasn't here. I was working elsewhere. I don't know what's going on. I'm afraid you're going to have to find Mr. Blackburn.
We're trying to find that out. So do you want to help us or do you want to run away?
I'm a bit confused. I don't know how much help I'll necessarily be. I have vague memories of maybe where everything is here, but I'm not sure.
I would say vague memories over not knowing anything.
Yeah, if you don't want to be alone, you're welcome to join us, but also no pressure, because when you're in a state of confusion, it's hard to make decisions. But we would love to invite you into our
join the
party. He's only further confused by the fact that Amethyst is dancing, because it seems to him a party and this kind of liveliness it's so far away
from like Charo action of the salsa flamenco.
But as you're noticing this, as you're looking at it, you're seeing that this confusion, this eliciting of this emotion, you're starting to see that there might be some small amount of like pink that is coming out on his cheeks and skin, as opposed to just gray. There might be a little bit of color, or maybe those glasses aren't black, they're maybe slightly brown.
Right, I'm gonna try something, and I'm gonna grab him and kiss him and see what happens.
We're gonna pick two cards. It's you versus him, because he's not ready for that, so he's gonna try to at first kind of pull back. We'll see if you're able to land one on him or what happens.
And right after you do it, I go, oh no, she didn't.
Well,
just for fun.
He got a 9.
Okay.
But you got an ace. So he tries to kind of pull back of like, what is happening? I met these 2 women. They're completely full of this color and weirdness. I have no idea what's going on. And you just land this kiss on him. And as you do it, Maven, you see, this is a good kiss. This is some steamy stuff. Yeah, this is like, whoa. And you see it's almost as if the color, the gray, is like showered off, as if it just throws itself onto the ground off of the entirety of Damien as he just, a lot of color. It comes back to his clothes. You're seeing some of those details, and his eyes opening wide, now no longer those black kind of eyes. You're actually seeing, oh, there might be that little tinge of green. They're like this hazel brown green in his wide eyes as he's being kissed on the mouth by a complete stranger. And now his skin is definitely more pink, and his cheeks are not just pink; they're very much red. There's an amount of embarrassment that is now happening. Of what in the world is happening now?
Yeah. So does he stay like that afterwards, or is it a short-lived kind of?
After you come back, he seems to stay fully in color, the way that the 2 of you have been this entire time, and he's just, he's a bit speechless.
That's how she leaves all of them. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I'm okay with kissing the entire town.
So I think, I quickly after this happens, take his reaction as consent to enter and invade his mind, to see if there's now new sources of information that I have access to telepathically.
With it too,
not so much.
You go into his mind, and his mind is filled with a gorgeous, tantalizing purple tiefling that dancer that kisses with just the most intoxicating taste of the lips and just the aroma, and that is all that you can tell he's thinking about at that very moment.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So I ask him, I'm like, do you remember anything more now that you're colored?
Some things, yes. I just I know that they wanted things to be a little bit more under control. They wanted things to be easier, and so they didn't want people to be themselves, I suppose. And that's what we worked on. We worked on how do you help people be more normal. And that's what the establishment was. The establishment was to make a norm, and so that everybody maintained the norm, and nobody would be out of line. It brought order. It made people safer. But God, I don't think anybody ever kissed like that.
Well, I am one of a kind, so. But do you remember more of like how to get around the building, or is that just information that you just don't have?
There's a main through the door. There's this main hall, and I know that Blackburn never leaves the building. He is always here. He always speaks from the roof of the building to everybody, but he never leaves this place. I don't know what else might be in there. I don't know who else you've encountered here, but the gray ones, as we call them, they're the faceless. You may encounter more of them. I'm not sure, but I'm sorry. What is your name?
I'm Amethyst. Nice to meet you.
Amethyst. I will forever cherish and remember that name.
Yes, well, you're welcome to.
I'm sorry. I do feel that I have to run from here, because as much as this was pleasant, I very much fear the faceless, and I have no idea what has happened to my family or any of them.
That's completely fine. Can you point us in the right direction? To this?
If you just go down the main, I just hope you don't run into Esther. But if you go out into this door and you just continue down the main hall, you'll see that there's an easy way straight up to the second floor, and I'm sure you will find Blackburn there.
Okay, cool.
And this Esther person who you just casually threw out as a, oh no. Tell us more, please.
I'd rather not. She's you don't just trust me. You don't want to run into her. She's effectively Blackburn's second in command.
Is there some way we can visually recognize her so that when we see her, we flip a quick 180?
Unlike many of the others, she will have a face, and you'll know. You see he's saying this as he's kind of moving further and further towards the exit. He is very much worried. The color still remains. He pushes the door. The door easily swings wide open for him. It seems that from this side, very easy to exit. The door slams immediately behind him, and he's gone. Tuft is still just kind of looking at him, looking at you like, this is fun to observe. You guys are weird. I don't get any of this. Kind of.
I'm wondering if I should kiss Esther.
Do you make your way into the hallway?
Yes.
Because we're going to the second floor, yeah.
All right. You make your way out that door, and you basically get into seemingly this kind of entrance part of a more the main entrance of the building. Seemingly those double doors that you walked in through. Again, everything is gray. Everything is still kind of lit up. You are, of course, you can exit the entire building this way, or you can make your way further down the hallway towards the staircase, as you see. And it's this kind of one of those staircases that goes up and then divides, going left and right into both directions. A big marble staircase. What would you like to do?
So the first thing that I suggest is I go, we'd be really remiss not to take this opportunity to do a little salt burn. We have this big mansion available. What would you play me some music while I dance naked through the hallways?
So you would like to strip as well?
Yeah, just for the cultural, moment.
Absolutely. I immediately tune up and get it ready.
That's a great, if anyone hasn't tried, just getting naked is a great way to clear any type of bad energy. So I feel like, I can really improve this situation from a energy standpoint if just let it loose and let it flow for a minute, and then we'll be refreshed and we'll be in a good state of mind to continue.
I will offer the perfect backdrop, the perfect soundtrack to that.
Fantastic. With a queen, you have such an inspirational dance and such an invigorating performance combined with the music that both of you get immediately just inspired for the road ahead. And what this will mean in this case is that no matter what you decide to do next, you're going to get to draw 2 cards instead of 1 to be able to do that. All right. You dance your way and play your way up to the staircase, and now you have the choice of going up the staircase either to the left or then going to the right. It is your choice. It is also your choice whether or not the clothes goes back on or not.
So I don't want those old clothes. Those were itchy and scratchy, but I create myself kind of like a rainbow robe made out of chaos magic and light magic kind of mixed together. So I've got some clothes on, looking really dope if I do say so myself. And I think let's go with the right staircase.
Well, I was going to flip a coin again.
Oh, yes. Flip the coin. What question are you?
Ask, is Esther to the right?
Oh, good question.
All right. You flip the coin, and once again hovers in midair, lands on your palm, and it is once again white.
Oh, so let's not go that way.
Left. So we're going left.
Left. Yes.
Okay. You walk your way up the staircase and go to the left. And as you're walking, Amethyst, you're looking at Maven's new threads, and they're seemingly throwing rainbows and lights that are almost refracting and reflecting around a little bit, almost like she's a prism to a degree. And the color stays. It's not gray rainbows and gray prisms and gray little beams of light, but they seemingly dash a little bit more and a little bit more as you're going through it. Potentially inspired by the song, you don't know, but seemingly having some sort of an effect. You make your way up the staircase, and you come into an interesting room. The room is now seemingly, it has a staircase leading further out onto some sort of a balcony of some sort, and there's a couple doors there. To the door that is closer to the balcony, you see a small little plaque that says Reginald Blackburn.
So the door next to the balcony, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you want to
I
go
think
in?
we need some type of game plan.
Yeah, I was like, guns blazing. Do we?
What
sneak
what
in?
what do you want our joint kind of strategy of?
Is that window above the door actually there?
It is. Yeah.
Do you want to peek in the window first?
I like peeking in windows. Yeah.
Okay, let's peek in the window first.
I am gonna do this. This is gonna be 2 cards, but not that you're pulling 2 cards. So it's gonna be 2 cards for you to observe, and then I'm gonna pull a 3rd card to see if you can do so stealthily because you are shining rainbows everywhere. So it's one thing to look in and see what you see. It's another thing to make sure that nobody sees that you're seeing. Oh, beautiful. You got an 8, and you got the unicorn card. The unicorn card is a unicorn all the way around and effectively means you get to wish for whatever and you succeed on whatever you were trying. So in this case, I'm not even going to pull a 3rd card. You are able to be stealthed. I will tell you exactly what you see, and then you can tell me what it is that you wish for. You can make it as wild as you want, and we'll see how we'll weave it into this fun part. So as you look in, you notice that there seems to be a desk and a man sitting at the desk. He seems to have glasses on, kind of smaller glasses, and he seems to be writing something. He's gray. Everything is completely gray, and you notice that he very much has a large mustache as he's sitting there. The only really interesting thing that you notice is while everything is gray, you're getting some sort of a vigor, a life from him, that even though it's gray, for him, this is life. For him, this is how he prefers to express what it is that he is doing. You now have pulled the unicorn card, so what would you like to do? It's your choice.
I'm thinking maybe like a truth serum so that he has to give us all the answers, and like maybe our delivery vehicle to be really sneaky is one of those little like I conjure up a magical version of one of those robot bees that that the government actually has. And it's got the truth serum, so it kind of very silently buzzes in and gives them a little poke on the neck, and it's a kind of a cocktail of serum. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of truth mixed with a little bit of something similar to like ecstasy. So he's like very, very friendly, and also willing to tell us the truth.
Okay, instead of ecstasy, I'm going to say paralysis.
Ooh. Okay.
So you can say in combination with. I mean, it's up to you.
Okay.
I just want him to have a good time, though. Also.
Yeah. He's rolling truthful and paralyzed.
This is phenomenal. That's such a great.
Which is actually just what happens if you take too much. I'm just kidding.
So you create this drone bee that kind of flies in. You let it out. Through the other door that goes out to the balcony. He can fly around and in the open window behind him, and it immediately gets him. You hear a little and like there's just like a noise that you're like, okay, all right, seemingly delivered. Given that it's paralysis, you look again and he's kind of leaning a little bit more in the chair, kind of leaning slightly back. What would you like to do?
All right, open the door, milady.
Yes, right. we waltz right in.
Door is not locked at all. You waltz right in. I'm going to say that presumably when you say paralysis, you don't mean entire paralysis. He can still speak.
Sure, yeah.
So just we'll overcome that limitation. It's general large paralysis where if he tries to move, it's going to be very much just, I'm going to fling my shoulder here. I can barely control that. But
heavily sedated.
Yeah. As you walk in, he looks at you, and you see Reginald Blackburn. As he looks at you, all of a sudden, what is very strange to see on this kind of a face is a big smile comes on his face. He goes, "Hello, hello, welcome, welcome. God, I feel so good. Oh, how are you?"
We're doing peachy. We just came to town. We noticed that there's some like sadness going around. We just kind of want to do something about that, make people happy like you are.
Oh, I am. Why would you want to make them happy? Ugh, people aren't productive when they're happy. They're productive when they're scared.
Well, you feel good right now. You're happy right now, aren't you?
But I'm happy because other people aren't.
When did you start working at the establishment, Mr. Blackburn? And I have to say, you do have a phenomenal mustache, and like, we're all noticing.
Thank you. Oh, it's so much care, and the oils. It's the oils, my dear. You have to keep using them.
Yeah. I mean, the wax tips.
God, I've had this mustache far longer than the establishment even existed. I built it, I built this. Oh, I feel so good. You know what I love doing? What I just absolutely adore doing when nobody knows is twirling my mustache just around my pointer finger and then flicking it so it tickles my nose. It's just delightful. Just delightful.
That does sound nice. What a rare pleasure. So what caused you to start building the establishment, and what were you doing before that?
Oh, well, my dear, people they don't know what they want. So I just told them what they want. I created order. I made everything the same so they didn't think, oh, my neighbor has this. There's a flashy thing here. It's just simpler this way. Everybody can be the same. Everybody can be the same level of unhappy. And nobody knows any different. And it's fine. It's fine.
How did you do it? How's it working? Did you invent something? Is it a drug that you gave to everyone in their food supply?
Oh, my dear, you should know. You should know better than anyone. I've seen you. I've been watching you as you've been coming here. The best drug is the drug of the mind, is when you take people over time and trick them into thinking this is what they want. This is how they're happy. This is fine. This is them. Their identity is bland. It just took time. You're noticing he's starting to get a little bit woozier. Maybe the cocktail was tweaked a little to the process side a little more.
How about, this is my proposal. We make you your little bland world, and you can just live in your little bland world all on your own. But you don't have to cause other people to do that.
But did you see people that were unhappy?
Yes.
Completely unhappy?
Yes.
They were only unhappy when they realized what happy was. Otherwise, they're fine. They're content. They do what they do. I do this for them. I do it all for them.
Do you? Do you?
My dear, how would you fix the hunger of all the children?
By giving them food.
Where would you get the food?
From food sources.
Somebody has to plant it, raise it, cook it, deliver it. And not everybody who does that is happy.
Some people very much enjoy that work.
But not most. They always complain about salaries and money and money.
We have enough resources to share.
But what about greed, my dear? What about greed?
That sounds like a you problem.
You see, I'm not in a lavish office. I'm not somehow...
Have you seen this
Oh.
fucking building?
The building is meant to just be a statement. It's for others to be in awe.
Yeah, that's
part
the
of-
definition of greed, bro.
I suppose, but
You are the problem.
what else would you have me do? Maven, you are noticing this man is slowly but surely heading for sleep. He's starting to nod off. Is there anything else that you would like to intervene with or say or do?
Hurry quick before you fall asleep. Is there a way to reverse it quickly?
Oh, why? Yes. But who has the time, the energy, the time, the energy, the time? And you see him nod off. As he's saying this and he nods off, you see him kind of look, and it's a little bit gross because of the paralysis. There's an immediate kind of amount of drool that plops onto the desk in front of him. And what you see as you look down is exactly the thing that he's been working on, which is this general kind of, you realize it's almost like a flow chart of the manipulation of the town. And that this is the system, that it's been implementing this kind of thought process in all these varieties and different angles and all these different things over time that has been able to produce what he has done. You're welcome to take a closer look at it, see how you might be able to disrupt it, look around the office, I don't know, flick his mustache, whatever you want to do, you are welcome to do.
I will poke around the office if you want to look at these papers.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna like study the plans real quick, but then also use my magic to project the plans visually outside of the building so that all of the other residents, if they so be outside, are now aware of what's been done to them.
Okay. With a 9, you are able to do the projection is absolutely easy for you as you're doing that. You're projecting it out. It goes further out to people, and you're kind of as you're looking at it, you're going, yeah, look, like here, like he kept on just saying that they kept on showing that, oh, it's going to be this kind of food and just eat the bland food. No, it's still good for you. It's still good for you. And it was just like all these processed junk and terrible stuff just because it was cheaper and easier, and then people just didn't care anymore. You look at the entertainment that they were being shown, that it was all, and you're showing all this, and as you look out the window and you're looking at all the people, nobody's looking. They're still just, as you noticed before when they were walking, they're just walking, they're kind of just looking straight ahead. There's not really anything with all of that. Amethyst, as you look around the office with a 4, you don't really notice much here. He wasn't necessarily lying about the fact of a lavish office. There's some papers, there's a couple books. They seem to be very much there for show than anything else. You really don't spot anything extra here. What would you like to do next?
Are there any like buttons or pulleys or like any mechanical devices that are connected to things outside of this room, or control panels, stuff like that?
Since you were looking with a 4, no.
Okay. Well, I think we should tie him up. Make sure he doesn't go anywhere. And then go explore elsewhere?
Yeah, I think we should determine whether or not we want to take responsibility to try and help save these people, or if like, cool, we solved the mystery, we feel good about it. Peace.
I mean, I'm honestly only attached to the little tiefling girl, so. But I do feel sad that they're all sad. So
we'll make some attempt, but like maybe not too much of an attempt.
Yeah, we don't have to, like, I mean, if it's impossible.
You're not at the point where you're actually gonna go kiss every single person in this town.
I mean, I've got the time.
You've got the time. All right. Well, I think then maybe we go on a kissing crusade.
Time and energy, as Reginald Blackburn said. All right. Are you tying him up, or just letting him
Yes,
be?
no, he's evil, so he must be tied up. But like
Okay.
gently, not we don't want him to have like rope burn or anything like that. I guess the question is, do we have anything to tie him up with?
I'm gonna say yes. At this point, like you travel, there's some amount of stuff that you can absolutely, yeah, definitely. As you finish tying him up, you hear a very gentle yet strict knock on the door of three specific knocks.
Flip a coin and say, "Is that Esther?"
That coin flies up into the air. It twirls, it twirls, it twirls as you hold your breath. And then as the final coin of the three that you have lands in your palm, it is
they're not reusable.
white. No, they vanish. So they vanish as soon as you use them.
Oh, well, I guess it was for a good... So it's yes. Okay, so I say we go out the window. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I guess are there safe ways to alternative exits to?
So the window's not very big, but potentially you could squeeze through it. Tuft can definitely get through the window. He's just kind of been following along with you guys this entire time, just sneaking in. It may be a little bit harder with the loot. It may damage the loot to get out the window because it's kind of like squeezing through. You know that immediate to the window, just to the right of it, as soon as you get out, is potentially this balcony that was kind of out there. So maybe you could get out instead of trying to jump down from the second floor. You could get over to the balcony. Perhaps that might be the easier kind of route to get out. But yeah,
well,
those
there's
are your
also
choices.
the circumstance if Esther gets through the door and sees him tied up, she can just untie him. So that seems like a problem. Maybe we have to.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm wondering
You
if
can't tell. He's paralyzed and out for probably several hours. So
Okay.
yeah, like
you
can
know
we
that.
take the papers from the desk and like go spread them around town and do kind of like a grassroots kissing campaign. Because Damien, was that his name, is out there and like he knows what's up. So like we can kind of put him in charge.
Oh, like the kind of exponential growth, like convert one back to
Yeah.
and then they go.
Yeah.
That seems like a very effective strategy. I support that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. So to the balcony.
To the balcony.
All right. Well, we're gonna pull a card for all three of you, meaning you two and Tuft, to see if you're able to make it out and make it to the balcony safely. Amethyst, you're gonna go first. With a 7, you're struggling, but what we're gonna do is you're gonna work at this as a team. So it's gonna be 3 cards in combination, blackjack rules. You have to beat 15 total. So we've got 7. The next one is 3. So this last one has to be, and aces are high, by the way, so it's not a 1. It has to be a 5 or above.
Yeah.
How lucky that you get exactly a 5. So 7, 3, and 5, perfectly on it. Not easy. You just barely met it. You almost fall, almost lose the loot, grab it at the last moment, and kind of as you make your way out, and you make your way on the balcony. As you do, you hear the door, you hear yet another loud knock, and you hear the door opening inside the room that you just left. You don't yet hear anything else. You're on the balcony. What would you like to do next?
Am I able to pick up anything telepathically from Esther?
Let's see. Are you trying to sort of invade her mind, or just kind of do a very gentle kind of emotions?
A medium. I'm not trying to get like specific information, but a little bit more than just a soft read.
Sure. Okay. If you get above a 6, that's a success. A 10, you absolutely get that. It's a very interesting emotion because it's not really shock. It's almost, you feel like a steely just determination of where like this individual is unfazed by anything. Like it's business is business. It doesn't matter. It's not good. It's not bad. It is. That's the feeling that you're getting. And of course, you're getting another individual that's passed out asleep. But great. Amethyst, you're on the balcony and you're starting to hear murmurs of a possible crowd. What would you like to do?
Underneath the balcony?
As you look out, you actually notice that some people are starting to gather, and the projections that Maven has put out are still up there. And you, as you notice and you look down, you see in the sea of gray, there are two moving little blips. You're not that high up. They're not really big blips, but maybe more so blobs. One of color and one of just very small gray. It seems that Damien and Alan are running around and pushing people towards this. And there is a crowd collecting underneath looking at these projections. And from the murmurs, you're very much kind of getting, they have no idea what they're looking at. They're like, what? What is this? No. What would you like to do?
Can your magic deliver the papers to Damien from the balcony?
Certainly. But I guess the question is, am I successful in my attempt at doing that?
Yes. How would you like to deliver the papers to Damien?
I imagine kind of like a little slide of magic. So, they just kind of...
Like a mail slot.
Yeah, like a
mail very slot, extended mail slot. Yeah. Okay. So you cast this mail slot, and with a 3, it comes out, and Damien is not at all ready as the papers come out. So as they all fly out into his face, they all sort of fly into the air and into the wind, and they all just fly about. The projection is still very much there. That's not disrupted because that's sort of this magical illusion that you've placed. It's there until you want to disband it. But the papers are now all flying in the air around Damien, and he doesn't know what these papers are. He just saw a magical, colorful slide appear in front of him and shove papers into his face.
Okay. Can you telepathically tell him what those papers are?
I don't know. I don't know how complicated. So I can try. I can certainly try. I don't know if he'll get it or not.
With telepathy, especially somebody you've talked to and that you can see right there, and that's a willing creature, which at this point he's going to be willing. You absolutely can. This is not even going to be a pull. This is just
I'm talking to him. I'm like, hey, so here's what's up. This Saltburn, what's his name? Blackburn. Thank you. The Blackburn guy just is a miserable person, and he decided to make all of you miserable so that he felt less miserable. But guess what? You don't have to be, and they were all lies. And as you've experienced, being able to kiss someone brings so much joy, and that's all any of you have to go do. Just go make out with each other.
So he kind of hears this in his head, and you see that figure just kind of stop, and he's like looking around because nobody's ever talked to him in his head before. And he just kind of looks around and goes, okay, just
I think
anyone?
Kind of quietly go up here and like kind of wave to him to let him know that it was me that was communicating with them.
He looks up at you, and what was that?
The papers.
He looks up at you. The papers are still kind of floating in the wind, and you see him immediately. His eyes go from you immediately to the person right next to you.
The papers.
As this happens, all of a sudden you hear from your left almost a chilling voice of, "What do we have here?" As you see out of the window, leaning, staring ice daggers at you, Esta. You have no doubt in your mind, this is Esther. Yeah, so from Damien's understanding, he's supposed to now go start kissing random people. And he's not very comfortable with just kissing people without consent. So he's very flummoxed, flabbergasted, whichever other word you want to use. What would you like to do?
So we're just on the second floor, so it's not that far of a drop. It's like, what, 10 feet?
Yeah, maybe a little bit higher, those staircases, because the way the building is, it's a little bit higher up. So maybe more like 15-ish. Like, you won't die if you jump, but you'll have to...
What I was thinking. Could you make a slide for us?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
So
Well,
go for it. Yep.
slide and just and go for it. All right. So 2 for the slide. So this you try to make the slide, and it seems that like as you puff it, you hear like a little like a some kind of a noise, like a mouth noise that comes seemingly from Esther, and all of a sudden the colors that usually come out to make the slide turn gray and just wither.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was thinking she was a magic user. So rope might be the next best thing.
And you can also just go for it.
Yeah, we could also just jump.
I'm down to do the little, like, if one of us kind of hangs from the edge and then the other one shimmies down their body part way and then kind of drops. Then I think we can cut it down to, like, 5 feet for the first person. Second person's maybe still dropping like 10-ish feet, but like in a good stance.
Yeah.
I think that's great. So here's what we'll do. I'm going to pull 2 cards for you again. Since both of you are doing it, you're helping each other out. We'll pick the top one. And then we're also going to be pulling a card for Esther, because she's very much pursuing you to get out of the window onto the balcony and further. And instead of just jumping, you are kind of climbing down, hanging down, climbing down another person. It takes a little bit more time to do that. So we've got an 8 and a 4. So in terms of being able to get down safely, you're able to get down safely. But the next piece is Esther going to catch up to you? And in this case, we're going to see, can she beat an 8? She cannot. She got a 6. So she gets to the balcony. She runs almost to grab your hand. And right when you let go, she grasps air. You land on the ground. Esther's staring down at you with a slight scowl. You have papers kind of flying around you. What would you do?
I would like to gather the papers if possible.
At this point, you know that the papers are you're going to gather some of them. There's no way that you're going to be able to gather all of them. Like, at this point, they've kind of flown around. The projections are still there. You still have Damien that's kind of willing. And the murmuring that you're hearing.
In love with me, I'm going to go for him instead.
Okay, what would you like to do?
And just try to explain to him that the key is to elicit strong emotions. It's not necessarily kissing people, but it's eliciting the strong emotions, and how Blackburn has manufactured this, monochrome, mediocre lifestyle for them. And if they want to continue that lifestyle, that's their prerogative. But if they don't want to continue that lifestyle, like, this is the way out of it.
All right. Well, as you say that, it's gonna be a persuasion check with a queen. Absolutely. Damien completely gets it. He understands it. It really sinks deep in for him as a scientist. And he starts doing something that he is incredibly uncomfortable with. He starts to sing.
I back up immediately.
You start playing, and he just he doesn't even you don't even understand that he's singing at first, because he just kind of starts talking, and you're like, he's kind of mumbling. You can't understand what he's saying. You're like, what? And then he goes like, I get knocked down, then I get up again. Nothing gonna keep me down. And he starts looking around. You're starting to jam in, sing along with him. I get knocked down. And then you're noticing that little boy Alan is starting to chime in again. Other people are chiming in.
Yeah, I want to put Alan on my shoulders and dance around with him while I'm.
Are we forming a conga line?
Sure.
Yes. Maven is like adding lights and all this kind of stuff, and you're seeing more and more things coming alive as more and more people are joining in. All of a sudden, from the balcony, from behind Esther, you're starting to hear this operatic voice that is singing, "I get knocked down, but I get up again." And it is just overtaking this entire scene as more and more color just floods back into all of it. You even see as it floods over Esther, and there's this shock of recognition of she's hanging over a balcony trying to grab a dancer and a magician. What is her life, and what is she doing, and why is she doing this ridiculousness? As everybody continues on singing, the entire town and the entire city, the colors go all the way through. You actually seem to find, as you see a little bit more of Tuft, that he's got a little bit more color to him, but he's still very much just kind of a white-haired, whatever he is. The entirety of it washes over, and as you finish singing, all of a sudden you feel wrapped around your waist, Maven, there seems to be some sort of a creature that is hugging you. As you look down, you see that you're being one arm hugged by a small, now that you can see, like a dark maroon tiefling girl, as she's hugging you, and you can tell that she is crying just pure tears of joy as she looks around to see that the entire town is now painted in color. And with that fantastic victory, you lead to further on merriment and helping all these people find their self-expression and how to put it into actual systems to where, no, you don't have to do everything like everybody else does. You can make it work and make people happy. It doesn't all have to be this gray nonsense that fits everyone, but nobody at all, truly. You find that actually Reginald Blackburn ends up opening a fried chicken joint, and that is where his true happiness is, and a lot of that pieces.
You could very much systemize the original recipe that way.
That was his key to success. Yes.
Yeah, franchising.
Yes. It seems that when he pulled together the papers that he could find, that actually the only things that were written on them were fried chicken recipes. And they were hidden amongst all the other awfulness that he had wrought. And on that is where we're going to end our adventure, as you have successfully brought back the happiness, self-awareness to this entire town.
Moral of the story being tough.
We're awesome. I'm just kidding.
Yes. Moral of the story, go kiss people. Probably dance naked in government buildings. Just live. Just live. All right. And on that, we will bid adieu to our lovely audience. If you have a significant other, go kiss them, go hug someone, go express yourself, go be human.